Hi, my name's George Handley. I'm a City Council member here in the City of Provo, representing District 2. I'm speaking today to you as a fellow citizen and as a fellow taxpayer of Provo in support of the school bond this November. And I want to explain a few reasons why I support this bond strongly. First of all, I know that it is a hard thing to ask to pass a bond, obviously because that increases our property taxes for the school in order to pay for the cost of these schools. However, I do think as someone who believes in fiscal responsibility, that it is the fiscally responsible thing to do to pay for this now and to pay for them all together. I know there are questions that it raises in terms of the immediate gathered cost of the bond put all together, but this allows the school district to build and rebuild the schools in a much more cost-efficient and effective way, and in a way that will provide for the maximum quality of the buildings, rather than doing it piecemeal or in other fashion. So I actually think that in terms of cost, passing this bond is the right thing to do. It is certainly the right thing to do now rather than later, and that is because the cost of construction is rising very rapidly, and if we wait another year or another couple of years, we're looking at least an 8% increase in the bond over the course of just 1 year because of the cost of the construction, which are obviously outpacing the cost of inflation. So this becomes a more and more expensive project for us to take care of. And there's an added problem too, and that is that we know that Timpview High School structurally is in trouble right now, and the school district is likely going to have to spend a significant amount of money just to protect that building and shore it up in the short term, which will be money that we're going to throw away. And that could be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, it could even be in the millions of dollars that they're going to have to spend on a short-term assistance to that building that would not be for the long-term benefit of our community. So in terms of the math, I think we're in better shape if we pass this now than later. And there is, of course, a very pressing question about the safety of our children. I've sent all of my children through public schools here in Provo. All of them have graduated now, but I'm very proud of the education they've received and the experience they've had at these schools. And I know how important it is as a parent to have the confidence that my children are in a safe space and enjoying their educational experience. And even though this bond will not benefit my children, I know that they will benefit yours. And I am supporting this for your children and for their safety. And I do not think it is the responsible thing to be dismissive of these concerns about the safety of these buildings. I've lived through the 1989 earthquake in San Francisco, and I am familiar with earthquake territory, and I know that these are real dangers, and we need to be careful and judicious about what kinds of risks we're willing to put our children through, and how urgently we take care of this problem. So I plead with you for the safety of our children, as well as for to avoid the future financial impact of waiting. I think now is the time to pass this bond. I want to say a few more words about the costs. I know that there are some concerns that have been raised about potential infrastructure costs that would be related to moving the middle school at Dixon to the west side of Provo. We are, as a city council, already planning and intending to spend money over the next 5 to 7 years on that infrastructure. So these are not unanticipated costs, and in the case of helping a school make that move, they would certainly not be unnecessary, and they would have long-term benefits for the city, benefits that we are already willing to invest in. The only difference would be the timing of those investments, which is something that would have to be adjusted if the bond passes. But as a city council member, I am prepared to do everything in my power to allow for the facilitation of that process to go forward. I think it's also important that we remember that costs are also related to benefits. The benefits of providing better spaces for our kids, for more programming for our kids, and a safer environment for our children are really important to us as a community. Good communities sacrifice what is necessary to help the whole community, to help all of the children in the community flourish. And I feel very strongly that passing this bond is a way to ensure that flourishing for the maximum number of kids in our community. And I wish for you to join me in supporting this bond so that we can be that kind of community that makes those necessary sacrifices on behalf of the good of the whole. And I thank you for your time and hope that you will join me in supporting the bond in November. Thank you.